Yeah, here we go. Welcome, everybody, once again. It's time for the Free-to-Play cast. It's episode 142. We're recording on Wednesday, June 10th. You're watching it on Thursday, June 11th. But that's okay to be a day late. No problems. I'm Mike Byrne, your host from MMO Bomb, a.k.a. Magicman, joining me like he does every week. We're going to let him talk this week. I don't know. It's crazy.
A minute ago, you didn't even want to show my face.
I know. We were debating putting something over your camera. Mr. Jason Winter, how are you?
I'm okay, but the weather site that I go to that shows like weather throughout the state, it had an error today. So the highest temperature in Texas was 139 degrees, but I almost believed it.
Wow.
Wow.
I could almost believe it.
Oh, and you heard the voice. You know him, you love him. Host of Free-to-Play Weekly. Welcome back, Mr. Zach Sharps. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Got an air conditioner today, so that's definitely nice since it's going to be 90 today, so.
Well,
90.
Jason
hey
says,
man, I'm an Oregonian. We used to rain, not sun.
Jason says, you rookies with your 90-degree temperatures. Psh, psh. All right, speaking of hot, we got some news for you. That was a nice segue. Better than one of the ones last week, which was pretty abysmal. And I think it had something to do with hot, didn't it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's, I don't watch the show. Just kidding, I watch every episode. Let's start over with the news. Oh, God, it's going to be one of those. I can feel it already. I can feel it already. All right, first up, no video game footage on this one. Sorry, YouTube. Got to look at some mugs here for a few minutes because Square Enix doesn't like to play nice with fair use on some things. So, just to be safe, since all we have is really one teaser trailer and then one info kind of video that dropped today, Square Enix is getting into the free-to-play space. Now, before you put it in the comments, I know Square Enix is technically already in the free-to-play space and has been for a while with things like Game Globe and Nosgoth and Triad Wars as publishers and things like that. But now they're looking at being the dev and pub behind a 5v5 mech fighting game. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I'm going to throw it to Jason here for some chat on Figureheads. What do we know so far? It's not too much.
Like, I know what's going on. But yeah, like it's a 5v5 mech fighting game, and they've got quite the backstory for it. You know, it's the future, and there was a lot of air pollution from a meteor or something, and now people fight robots for sport.
And it caught on. It's a worldwide sporting phenomenon.
It's like esports, but it's like I guess real because it's real.
It's in a mech.
So wait,
Yeah.
this is like esportception then. So it's like an esport of a real thing in an esport video game. I don't know how this works.
Esportception.
Yeah, I've just lost the mapping. It looks kind of decent. I mean, I kind of like it. It has a very Armored Core feel to it, obviously from Square Enix, other franchise. It made me think, I wonder how Hawken and MechWarrior Online are doing. I haven't checked in with them in a long time. But what were your initial thoughts? The teaser trailer was interesting. We did get a new video today. Zach, I don't know if you had a chance to check it out, that had some... the voiceover was obviously in Japanese, so it's hard to glean too much from it unless you speak the language, but gave you some basic gameplay concepts. What are you thinking about so far?
My thought is exactly sort of what you were thinking. I'm wondering how the other mech games are doing, because if like Hawken, for example, isn't bringing a lot of revenue, I don't know why Square Enix would take this venture, especially when they have a lot of other IPs that they could work on, rather than jumping into doing another 5v5 type game, similar to Nosgoth, being in an arena, battling it out. They could have either worked more on Nosgoth, or they could have brought forth a new IP that's a little bit different, rather than going forth into a sector that I believe is already covered pretty well by Hawken. Hawken was a really good mech game, at least in my opinion. So I don't really know why they're doing this. It just seems sort of like a, hey, let's make a mech game type thing, without really looking into the market and seeing whether or not the market actually wants a mech game at the moment.
And when I look at the video too, I mean, when I looked at the extra gameplay video they did today, especially, and you see, it almost doesn't even look like a mech game to me, because the mechs are very, very humanoid, very bipedal. They don't really look all that mechanical like they do in Hawken or MechWarrior or anything. And they seem to be showing off different roles. One of them was a sniper. One of them was like a support guy. Let's say he did some healing or dropped ammo or whatever. So it's almost just it's a squad-based shooter that just happens to have a mech skin thrown on it.
And there is a bit of tongue-in-cheek going on with it, too, in some of the video stuff they've been showing as far as how combat plays out, strategy. But then also, even in the teaser, we saw, of course, like the little Japanese stereotypical schoolgirls as characters and things. So there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek going on in the game, too, which I appreciate. But it's hard not to draw the comparison, especially from Square Enix, that Nosgoth is pretty... It's generally well received so far. It's generally well received. It's got issues, of course. Every game does. But for the most part, most people are pretty happy with that game if it's gameplay you enjoy. And it's hard not to look at Figureheads as, hey, Nosgoth is doing well. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I'm pretending I'm a Square Enix exec right now. Nosgoth is doing well. Let's do it again and reskin it into mechs. I do kind of get that vibe from the game, too, where there's not too much new going on here, but it's got a different feel, kind of like Star Wars: The Old Republic being World of Warcraft with the Star Wars skin, if you get that analogy.
It's possible that Square Enix could be planning to maybe bring it to consoles or mobile, like some other platform. It would make sense if that were the case, because wasn't there that like Japanese
we don't even know if it'll
mech?
even make it to the West at this point.
Yeah, because there wasn't there that Japanese mobile game or Korean mobile game that got canceled a while back that looked really impressive on mobile? I believe, if I'm remembering properly, there was. But that would be interesting for it to go to mobile, obviously, if it makes it even over here to begin with. So, I mean, they just need to do something different, something that no one's expecting in order for me to really be hyped up about it. Because right now, I'd just rather go play Hawken if I wanted to play a mech game, because I'm already established in that. I already have an account. I have stuff that's in it, and I already have experience with it, where going into a mech game that kind of feels more like a Call of Duty title than a mech title doesn't really appeal to me.
And even just the graphics, I think, look better in Hawken. I think this one looks okay, but it doesn't look really like up to date. I mean, I expect incredible graphic fidelity from Square Enix, and this just doesn't seem like it's outstanding in my mind.
It's below their standards, yeah.
They are known for the cutscenes. They are
the
definitely
yeah,
known
the
for
cutscene.
the
Sure.
cutscenes. And I don't know. To me, I like the aspect of a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek with this. MechWarrior Online, obviously, like a very serious type overtones. Hawken, very serious type overtones. I do like that the fun they seem to be having with it, from what I'm able to glean by guessing what some Japanese words may mean, and what's being portrayed video-wise. Obviously, I don't think we know anywhere near enough to be pumped for the game or looking forward to it. I would definitely give it a try, just because to me Square Enix does have, typically, in most cases, besides some of the mobile crap that's out there that they're putting even more out, usually has, like you said, that line of polish where even if I don't like a particular game, it's just not my cup of tea, I can appreciate some of the things that they do in it and the execution of it. So something I'll definitely check out, but I think right now it's more of a professional curiosity working for MMO Bomb than I really want to play it. What about you guys?
You heard it from the FF14 fanboy. Who am I to argue? Jeez.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I do have a Cactar t-shirt on today.
Oh, God.
I'm wearing a
But yeah, I mean,
Cactar.
it's kind of that same boat. I mean, I don't even know. I've barely played Hawken. I never touched MechWarrior Online. Finding robots never really been a big thing for me, so I look at it, and again, unless I know something else, unless something bigger comes out, it's just not something that I feel too interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Jason. It's one of those things, like you said, it's more of a professional curiosity rather than a actual curiosity as a player. So I don't know. I need to see more.
Well, you heard it here first, gang. Let us know in the comments what you think of Figureheads and the little bit of footage that we have, and if it'll ever come to the United States, who knows. I'll just say it right now, Jason, so you can get it out of the way. It may be another Phantasy Star Online, too. Moving on.
No, because people actually want that.
Oh, shots fired.
Moving on. Next up, Aion. Aion is getting an expansion. on the 17th. So that is 6 days from now if you're watching this the day it goes up, called Upheaval. Now, the expansion adds a ton of new content, obviously. That's kind of the point. But also does go back and revamp a few existing systems. So, first off, before we get into what the expansion's offering, Aion is a game that we really don't talk about all that much on the show, especially recently in the last year or so. So I wanted to kind of get a status check on this one from all the hosts here. Let's start with you, Zach. You said you just booted this bad boy up yesterday to try and get in and take a peek at some things and see what's happened over the years. If you haven't played Aion in a long time in the West, you probably remember when it launched. It was extremely grindy, typical Korean-style MMORPG with a little bit of Western flavor added in, but the grind was definitely there. A while later, when it converted to free-to-play, they also made a ton of changes to try and westernize it even more, and they've been doing a fairly decent job since then. What's your view on Aion right now?
All right, so first off, I'm kind of like you with WildStar, right? You know,
Hold on. Hold those up again. Let me. Yeah, there they go.
3 copies.
I'm not gonna lie that I may or may not have 2 copies.
Yeah, so, I mean, one, their box art was just fantastic.
Yes.
But anyhow, so as far as the game goes, I did boot it up the other day because I was playing Echo of Soul, and you probably wondering, why the hell are you still playing that game for? For some reason, it's a mindless entertainment for me, and I'm actually enjoying it. I don't know why, but I am. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, what does Aion have that Echo of Soul, has, but it does better? Because Aion has been a lot more established, at least over here in the West. And so I hopped into Aion thinking it's going to be way better than Echo of Soul, and I'm having a lot more enjoyment playing it than Echo of Soul. I hop into it.
I don't want to interrupt you, but there is something we need to interject here. All 3 of us are North American players. So
Yes.
it's important for you guys and gals watching the show to know that our experience is obviously based on the North American version of Aion, which I think the hosts are going to agree, generally has a pretty good reputation as far as cash shop and stuff goes.
Yes.
We're not talking about our European brethren who totally got shanked with their cash shop model and their publisher. So just a point of perspective.
Yeah, so, I mean, when it comes to Aion, I hopped into it, like I said, thinking that it's going to be way better than Echo of Soul. I was thinking to myself, oh, why the hell am I even playing Echo of Soul right now? And I started walking around and noticing, okay, so the combat's not as locked down as it used to be, which was a big gripe for mine. But the game just feels so old now. I don't know what it is. Like, I thought Echo of Soul felt dated, but Aion feels so dated. And I used to love the game. I played it so much at launch, but I just couldn't stand it. Like, there wasn't auto pickup quests, and the lore isn't really that good, so we need auto pickup quests. There wasn't combat that felt as solid as I thought it used to, and it doesn't feel as modern as it should be. It feels kind of like as NCSoft sort of abandoned its mechanics and is more focused on content. And I think that as an MMO developer, you have to constantly try and modernize your game to at least some degree to keep it feeling like it's new rather than feeling old. And so I honestly uninstalled it within an hour. I couldn't stand it.
Let me ask you this: Are you of a level capped character? Were you brand new? Were you playing a mid range? What were you doing?
I think I had a level 55-ish
Cool.
assassin.
Again, just trying to give everybody our point of view where we're coming from here.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Winter? I know Aion isn't exactly your cup of tea from the moment it actually launched, but what are your thoughts a few years later now?
Did I ever expound on my Aion experiences before?
We talked briefly on a Twemo episode about it, but I don't think you gave me the nitty-gritty, no.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I got it when it first came out. Checked into it. It was the big thing. People in my Lotro guild were talking about it for like a year. They were all over that. We're all going to get in this. We're all going to make what were the dark side ones. I forget what the factions were.
Asmodean.
Asmodeans.
So yeah, and we all did, or I did that at least, and yeah, I thought we were going to get together at some point to try and do stuff. We never really did, but I did the grind up to like level, only I think it's like 14 or so, and it was like I think I told you before, it was the first MMO that I ever had that thing that bugs me all the time now, was that I was told, dude, when it gets to level 25, that's when the game really opens up. I'm like, I'm 14 now. How much longer is that going to take? How much more boring grind am I going to need for that? And I was like, ugh. So I quit around that point. When I went free to play, I came back, checked it out, and yeah, it was a little less grindy, but kind of like what Zach said, is I just couldn't stand the combat. It just felt so slow, so stuck in the mud, that I just couldn't handle it. So I just played it for like a couple hours, looked around a little bit. It was still very pretty. I thought the graphics held up really well for a game that was probably 3-4 years old at the time, but yeah, I just could not get back into the combat.
Wow, lots of wow. Go ahead and play Aion, guys. Yeah. All right, I'll take a little lighter stance on this one then. I do agree with you, Jason. Visually, I think it does hold up well. There are parts of it, of course, that look dated. You could tell where in some zones they put a lot of graphical detail into things, and then in other segments of the zone, it's kind of just, all right, put some type of texture on there and let's move on. For the most part, it's not that bad, though. It doesn't make my eyes bleed. Zach, I think if I got to ask you one question, Zach, which is a better game for you, Echo of Soul or Aion?
This is hard because my immediate instinct and my love for Aion, because I still have love for Aion, because I played it like a crackhead when it first came out. But it's one of those things where I look at the features of Aion and I look at what Aion has as a whole, as how much content it has, and I say Aion is obviously the better game. But the combat is so old. It feels so old that I just can't. Going into Echo of Soul, I have at least one dodge, so I can kite a little bit more. The combat has a little bit better spell effects, in my opinion, and it just, even though Echo of Soul, I rated it like I think 4.5 or something like that, out of 10. I still prefer that combat in that system more than Aion's combat for some reason. So I would say that obviously Aion's the better game if you can get past the combat. If not, then
which is a pretty big sticking point. I mean, that's know. So given the choice right now, if I said, "Hey, go play a game," you're going to play Echo of Soul.
I'm actually going to play Echo of Soul probably after this free-to-play cast.
Oh my god!
I don't know why.
I don't even want to do the show anymore.
I even said this on my personal channel. I do not know why I find this game entertaining. I don't. It screams of just another, soulless Korean MMO. But it's mindless entertainment. I just can't stop playing it.
There's your endorsement.
Yeah.
That'll look good in the next video for Echo Soul. I don't know why I play this game. MMO bomb.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Zach must be getting a check from Area Games to give him a review like that.
Yes. Make sure you got.
Oh, that's heartbreaking to me. This is absolutely heartbreaking to me. I don't want to do this show anymore. We're gonna just throw the end credits up right now. Get it out of here. Oh, heartbreaking.
A-bomb for me.
All right, I cannot. If I have to make a choice, it's Aion. I don't even have to think about it. If I have to choose between Aion and Echo of Soul. I do agree, though, that with particularly Jason, you had some points about the leveling experience. The leveling experience is atrocious. And yes, they have gone in and they've done things like the XP server, where if you're familiar with other games that let you change the channel of a zone to hop into another channel where maybe there's more or less players, whatever you're trying to do. Aion does give you the ability to swap into another channel that has an increased XP rate and some other perks to try and push players towards the end game, because this is, as much as Jason hates this type of thing, and I agree with him. I'm not disagreeing with you, Jason. The game should be fun from level 1 till end game. Maybe your game style changes at that point, but it should be fun throughout. And for me, there's aspects of the leveling in Aion that are not fun. But
exactly,
there are everything that is being developed for this game is catered right to the end game. And if you have a max level character, there's a much better chance you're going to find something that you really enjoy in Aion than if you just create a character now. If you're just creating a character now, it's definitely one of those games that you need to take a friend or two to hang out with along the way, and you guys level together and have some fun doing things like that. Mm-hmm. Because I will play Aion any day of the week. as long as it's on my max level character. I will not roll an alt or anything, and if you need help, I will come and help you, and if it's something I can't help you with due to a level risk, you're on your own, Jason. Screw it. It's
darn.
not leveling somebody. But for those of you that do play often, next week you're getting the Upheaval expansion. 2 new zones full of never-before-seen creatures and brand new quests. Well, we would hope so. 2 new raid instances, an ancient fighting ground named Stone Spear Reach and Drakenspire Depths, a living prison, very special prisoner. Little tease there for you if you guys have played through the previous expansion story. If you haven't, you have no idea. An overhaul to existing skills. This is a big one for me. An overhaul to existing skills, a revamped stigma system, and improved skill user interface. That's one thing that I hated about Aion is some of the interface, and the inventory is atrocious.
Oh, then I definitely.
Yeah, Jason definitely wouldn't play it. And then obviously new armor, weapon sets, all that stuff. And now you can claim bases and land for your legion with a territory battle system too. Here we go, Arcage. So a ton of good stuff if you're at endgame. I mean, it's one of those games, if you're at endgame, great. If not, it's a little rough to get there. But if you put in the time, you are going to have a bit of a different experience once you get there. I'm definitely going to jump in and check out the expansion. So I'll probably do like some type of preview article or something for it. Don't know if I'll do a first look on just the expansion because kind of silly to do a first look on something you need to spend 2 months getting to. So maybe we'll do a little preview or something. I'm excited about the expansion. One thing that Aion did that was like the first game, and I know it wasn't the first game to do it, but it was the first game that I played that did it, was put in solo and duo instances. I love those. Where do you guys stand on those? I see a lot of players that always scream, well, if you're going to put in a solo instance, why would you do that in an MMO? Go play a single-player game. I love solo duo instances. What about you guys?
I'd say I'm interested in the duo stuff. Yeah, I sort of feel like that old way with what you're saying about why have solo, why have an MMO. I'm a little oldish school to that extent, but I like that everything doesn't require a whole 5-man or a 10-man or whatever man group. I like the notion that you can do instant stuff with just one friend. So I definitely like the duo stuff. Kind of about with solos.
I personally like solo instances a lot. I mean, it's, to me, a lot more enjoyable to go through a challenging dungeon than it is to go do a fetch quest or a gathering or a kill quest out in the open world. Because sure, it is an MMO, you expect there to be players, but I'm a person who likes challenge, so...
And is antisocial, apparently.
No, I also like group dungeons, because that's the thing. They need to have a good balance of both solo and group dungeons, because if they don't, then yeah, it's going to feel like a single-player game that's not open world. I think like every 10 levels would be nice to see a solo instance in every MMO, because that way you get a little bit more of an advantage of maybe seeing more story within the game, and I think MMOs generally need more story, at least 80% of them, maybe more than that. And so I think that it's a good chance for them to storytell to you, and also on top of that, it's a good chance for them to maybe throw a little bit of challenge towards you as well. And I think it's just a matter of how much they implement them and how frequently they throw in group dungeons on top of that and keep you in the open world as well, because it's very important for them to have a good balance. And I think Aion has a great balance of that in terms of solo and group dungeons.
I love them. Love them. Freaking love them. Solo dungeons, 5-man dungeons, 8, 10, 25, put them all in there. Love them all. Love them all. But don't forget the solo and duo. Those are fun. I particularly like the duo ones, but solo is great for, well, I'm on 20 minutes before my buddy's going to be home from work. Let me go see if I can get that helm to drop real quick. I love them. Love them. All right. Moving on with the news here. We're going to finish up with the rapid-fire round. We've got a lot of small pieces of news, so I'm going to give you guys and myself a chance to maybe express whether you're surprised, whether you're not surprised about certain things, and maybe a thought or two about the overall concept. You guys ready? Warm up.
Love it or hate it round.
Stretch,
Yep.
yeah, it's like a love it or hate it round. Here we go. Oh, speaking of love it or hate it, you did Aion last week.
Yes.
What were the results?
I believe 37% love it, 14% hate, and 49 were kind of meh about it.
I guess
Which puts it-
37% is right about where we just landed, wasn't it?
Which puts it
About.
kind of in the lower portion of games in terms of stuff I've done. Anything below 40 is one of the lower ones. I found.
37% is pretty much what just happened here. 1 out of 3 of us. Go play Echo of Souls, Zach. You're breaking my heart. Breaking my heart. Well, at least they got solo instances, so.
Yep, they do.
All right, rapid fire round. No EverQuest Next this year. So no EQN in any playable form for 2015. Zach, surprised? Yes, no, and what are your thoughts?
Considering it's Daybreak, I'm not surprised. They take forever with everything, and they announce stuff way too early. But I think that it's a terrible mistake in terms of how they've sort of paced this out. They really should have waited and not announced EverQuest Next until maybe even this year, because a lot of people are looking at it and maybe have already refunded their starter packs. I refunded my starter pack for EverQuest Landmark, because as soon as I saw how it wasn't even done or even close to being done, I expect Alpha to at least have framework. They didn't even have framework. So I no. Hate it.
No.
Mr. Winter, you're not surprised by this one. You've been
No, I'm
forecasting this for a while.
Yeah, and a little bit of what Zach said. I remember we first got that. Remember that we got that one screenshot of that one dude who was supposed to be the EverQuest Next guy. We had like the furry coat and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was when I was at SOE Live 2011. So that's 4 years ago, and they're at least probably another year from giving us any real game. So yeah, it's just chugging right along at a snail's pace.
Can't say I'm that surprised, although I was on there's a lot of Landmark going into Next, so it's possible we could see something in 2015, so it is kind of disappointing for me, but I can't go with absolute shock and awe or surprise. I'm not. Which I honestly wouldn't be that surprised if 2016 we didn't get much at this point. I really don't know. And I know there's a Smedley coming out and saying, whoever thinks this is vaporware is wrong, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
How many games do they have out of alpha? So,
Right.
I mean,
Right. Trove from Tryon Worlds, the sandbox voxel-based dungeon sandbox explory, go do your thingy with classes and all that stuff. It launches on July 9th. Finally coming out. Small team behind this one. Been able to play this one for quite some time already. But, thoughts? Are you going to play? Jason.
I'll probably get back into it for a little while. I played a bit in the open beta, whenever that went to whatever. No, it was kind of fun. I just had a lot of stuff on my plate at the time, but it was just a fun little builder and going around whacking game. Just pretty simple, mindless fun, kind of like your Zack and Echo Soul.
exactly. And I agree with Jason. I'll hop back into it and check it out. I didn't really play a lot of it when it first. I think I played it in closed beta. I maybe played about 2 hours or whatever. I saw the concepts. I liked the concepts, so I'll hop back into it to try it out. Might as well.
Not for me. I'm going to take a pass. I'm going to take a pass on this one. You guys can play your Trove. Terra had to add a new PvE server to accommodate the massive influx of players, making them the #1 MMORPG on Steam as far as concurrent users go. Queue times during peak hours on PvE servers was reaching 100, or queue times were escalated after they had already increased server populations by 120%, and so they finally added another PvE server. PvP players, your population en masse is pretty happy with the way your population's distributed. You're not getting a server yet, but the PvE players will be able to create a character on the new Highwatch server or transfer a character free for the first week. Surprised, Jason?
A little bit. That being on Steam made that much of a difference for a game that had already actually been out for a couple of years.
Still not going to jump in?
No. Hell no.
You hate Terra.
I hate Terra. I'm sorry. No other way to put it.
I have been jumping in and out since not only Fate of Arun, but then also the Gunner class after that. So I'm not going to transfer servers. I'm happy with Tempest Reach. But great. Queue times will be lessened a little bit. Awesome. Zach?
I personally like Terra in terms of another mindless, game for me to play. Its combat was entertaining as all hell. Originally, when it first came out, didn't like it, but I am not surprised at all that Steam gave them this big of an influx of players because Steam is a huge marketing machine for games right now. And if you don't get on Steam, you're going to have a tough time. So I'm very not really that surprised, honestly.
I'm not surprised that the population went up. I'm surprised that it went up to this type of a degree. I'm kind of with you, Jason, where this has been out for years now. If you've wanted to try this, you probably already did. Wow, that's some sheer force behind Steam to create this. And we already know Steam is a powerhouse anyway. But on the Terra news, adding in to the rapid-fire round here, I do want to ask you guys, speaking of Terra on Steam, we found out today through an announcement from NMOS Entertainment, which I'll be writing up this evening, the Steam client is about to get a region lock. If you're watching this show, it's too late. It's already been region locked. It's going to happen on the 11th. For certain areas in EU and Russia, you will not be able to play Terra through the Steam client. Now, if you already have it downloaded, fine, but you won't be able to have any new downloads. So don't delete that file. Otherwise, you probably aren't getting it back onto your Steam library. Now, I do have to say that we don't have any official, insider information on exactly why, but they do kind of hint at publisher disputes. So I'm just going to put it out there. GameForge pissed off? Is that what happened here?
Pretty much.
GameForge is a mess anyhow. Not surprising.
And maybe this explains why it was so big on Steam, because everyone who was pissed off at GameForge in the EU
Yep.
wouldn't like that. So.
Yep. So our apologies to our friends in some EU countries and in Russia, but yipes. Yeah, GameForge really didn't want you to be able to play that version. Skyforge open beta date speculation. So Spunky posted on the forums, our friend Spunkify out, posted on the Skyforge forums confirmation that closed beta test 4, which we know is going to be sometime this month in June, is likely, unless there's horrible catastrophe somewhere, is likely going to be the last closed beta test, and then they will move into an open beta test, and the time range between closed beta test 4 and open beta will be determined on how closed beta test 4 goes. So that kind of puts a speculation on Skyforge's open beta to hit in July. I believe in my article I gave it, just to put an exact number on it, I gave it July 13th as the possible beginning of open beta for Skyforge here in North America. Thoughts? Jason?
That sounds about right.
Keeps them away from WildStar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would imagine, being Skyforge, you probably want to get away from a bunch of these bigger things as you can. Gets them away from the fall free-to-play conversion of WildStar. Mm-hmm. Gets them after the expansion for Final Fantasy XIV drops later in June. Probably banking on Guild Wars 2 expansion being a little bit later in the year, so they won't have to worry about that. Kind of gives them a nice little couple of weeks, maybe even a full month or so, of the biggest MMO release at the time going into open beta.
Yeah, because open beta for a free-to-play game is basically launch.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you said, not only all that stuff, but it almost does it just seem to you guys that this game has kind of lost a little bit of the steam, a little bit of the hype steam since it's over the last few months.
It has to me. It has to me. And I've seen similar comments on some of the articles that we've posted and some videos that we've posted on it, too, where it's kind of... I don't know if it's died down to, the Blade and Soul level, but for me, I have kind of lost a little bit of my Skyforge steam. And it's because there's a lot that I really want to get into in Skyforge, and I just really don't want to do it during a closed beta test when I'm going to have to do it all over again anyway. So I played the beta first and second tests, and then I didn't play the third one at all, and probably won't play the fourth one.
So that's kind of what I think, is that they want to get it out there reasonably quickly.
Yeah. Zach?
So realistically, I think that you guys are right on your date. But I'm hoping, because there's currently not an MMO that's going to be launching on my birthday, July 29th. Firefall was last year. So hopefully, maybe July 29th would be nice. I mean, Windows 10 is releasing July 29th, but that's not really a game for me to play. But
Well, it's a
I don't know.
game for you to configure for a few days.
Yeah.
Last up, Zach, you're first. ArcAge's server evolution. Don't you dare say server mergers. Don't you dare say it. And it really doesn't apply, because in this type of game where land grabbing and things like that, is such a big deal, you really can't just merge servers. But the ArcAge population has started to drop off to a point where they need to do something to start condensing some things and decreasing the queue times for various events and just getting players together. So they're going to implement what's called server evolution. Now, there's no date on this exactly yet, but what they're doing is they're taking certain low population servers, they're nuking them, and pushing all the players on them to a newly created server. So it's essentially a server merger of players rather than merging of the servers. Also, it creates a brand new land grab. If you have land on your current server, you don't have it on the new server. There's going to be another land grab. What do you think, Zach?
I think that Tryon keeps shooting themselves in the foot, so much so that I don't even think they have a foot anymore to shoot. Because this is just a server merge, but instead of, actually, unless they redistribute the land and just wipe everything clean, which I doubt they'll do because people would be furious if they did that. People who are on those low pop servers who have land are going to be so pissed off when they get thrown onto a new server and don't have land that they're going to have to spend a ton of gold or spend a lot of money getting Apex to convert that to gold in order to even buy real estate, in order to plop their farms down. It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea.
No, it's not. No, because say each of these servers that are getting merged, two of them are getting merged, they each have they're 70% full or something. That's what people are saying. They're saying, there's enough space on the servers that they're on now. If they're each 70% full, now they go to the new server and it's at 140% capacity. Well, 40% of people
QH.
they're just going to quit. No, 40% of them are just going to quit. So now it's back up to full capacity. It's perfect. As long as about a third of your players just quit, you're fine. And that's what they're going for, it seems.
I think you're right, Jason. That's been Tryon's way of thinking for the past
That's
few
fine.
months.
What a mess. I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong. Let's go do the weekly bombs. Alright, I'm going to start today. I'm going to give an A-bomb to Dungeons & Dragons Online, the new Warlock class so far. We saw a dev preview video of it, and obviously it's still in development. But I'm just not impressed at all. I know the game's older, there's all kinds of issues with paywalls and things in DDO, which we won't get into. I really usually love Warlock classes in-game, but this one is just not that great. To me, and I hope this is something that gets changed, when your main auto-attacky type ability is a projectile that you can run faster than, I think you're kind of missing the mark. Maybe a little bit. Jason, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to give an A-bomb to... I've been talking about Hearthstone all week, all this crap that's been going on. But anyway, I give an A-bomb right now for the reveal of their new hero, of Magni Bronzebeard. Which, they teased it, and they gave you a little shadow, a little silhouette, and someone with a warrior icon underneath. And of course, it got everybody thinking, oh man, it's a new hero. We get a brand new hero. He's going to have new powers, new cards, whatever. Nope, just a skin you buy for $10. Doesn't do anything different. Mm-hmm. And I just think that was just not the right way to go about it.
Not a fan, huh?
No.
So that's 2 A-bombs. Zach, can you pull us out of the A-bomb hole here?
Yeah, I got a dub bomb for Blizzard for adding, or at least, announcing a new battleground for Heroes of the Storm. I play Heroes of the Storm a lot. I have a cap level, hero level, and also have a couple master level, heroes in that game. So I'm really looking forward to what they do with this battleground because it looks really cool. Playing off the Diablo heaven sort of level at the end of that game. So it's going to be very interesting to see the mechanics and sort of how everything plays out once it actually launches. So
very cool. Ultima something on the YouTube says, dub-bomb to magicman for giving Echo of Souls deserving score, and at the same time A-bomb to Area Games for releasing a game 7 years too late. Let me just flash to Zach's camera there. Okay, now back to mine. Dub Bomb to Blade and Soul for its perfect release date. Time for finally releasing in the Northwest. In the
Northwest.
Northwest.
It's only been released in
Congratulations, Seattle.
Well.
And Ultima Something is excited to play WildStar when it becomes free to play. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, all right. Kinetic Fetus says Jason is genuinely hyped about a game that's not out yet. All right, everybody, let's go ice skate in hell.
That is true.
Talking
That is
about
true.
cross out from last week. All right.
That is
And
definitely true.
Goes on to say, I'm taking all his.
No,
comments.
that's a note from me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh,
The next bunch of comments I'm kind of taking as a collective YouTube A-bomb.
okay.
Okay, so I took a bunch of people's comments, put them all together. We made one big YouTube A-bomb, mostly for Infinite Crisis here. So go ahead, Zach. Take the magic robots.
All right. So, yeah. Wait. What's it's Screaming Diz Busters?
No. The magic robot right above it.
Robot. Oh, where?
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. The Magic Robots, a DC Comics MOBA. I think I'll give it a try later. Never mind. Gets around to playing it. Never gets around to playing it. Was mine. And what I suspect others' reaction was to Infinite Crisis and was probably why it failed. So in other words, he just never got around to it, and he thinks a lot of people other didn't. So
That's probably pretty accurate.
yeah.
The Screaming Dizbuster says, wait, what's Infinite Crisis? Never mind, that's probably why it's closing down.
James Louis Vanos says Infinite Crisis was horrible, wasn't optimized at all. I checked back repeatedly, being disappointed.
Nice, and we shuffled it so Zach gets to try and pronounce this name.
Absharampe, Warner Bros.
Better than I would have done.
Warner Bros. Pulling an EA and just outright closing Turbine? Question mark.
Ooh, we kind of speculated on what might happen long term for Turbine last week, Jason. You think that's a possibility?
I hope not.
Well, you'll still at least get a year out of Lotro, so don't worry about it. A year and a half at least.
Yeah.
You're good.
As long as Lotro gets to do its thing, I don't care about anything else Turbine does. So.
Loki says, it's true that World of Tanks has, this is talking about Armored Warfare versus World of Tanks, which was a conversation last week. It's true that World of Tanks has some advantages over Armored Warfare, but you're forgetting one thing. World of Tanks runs on Big World Engine, older than most of its players. Armored Warfare runs on CryEngine, so when World of Tanks developers needed 3 years to implement semi-realistic physics, Armored Warfare developers needed 3 months. And this goes for most of the stuff. Like you said, Armored Warfare already has better graphics. They basically have to worry only about balancing and make the gameplay more interesting than World of Tanks. I wouldn't say it's a clone of World of Tanks, more like a World of Tanks 2.0 version made by people who realize it's the 21st century. And like everyone besides Psycho fans moved from CS 1.6 to CSGO, or stopped playing, and like everyone... Wait, did I type... Oh, and besides Psycho fans move from Dota to Dota 2 or stop playing, everyone besides Psycho fans will eventually move from World of Tanks to Armored Warfare or stop playing. I think that's a bold statement.
That is pretty bold. I mean,
Loki, you had me all the way up until that last...
I can see his point if you compare something like World of Warcraft and then later MMOs refining it and just having better stuff in general, and they might do okay. They might be pretty successful. But Warcraft is freaking huge. And World of Tanks right now is freaking huge, so...
Question of the week last week, now that it's officially going to be free to play, are you coming back to the Nexus in WildStar? I said yes, because I'll be a member until I'm 90, apparently, by the amount of boxes and free time I'll be getting. Jason said yes, but probably not long. Zach, you weren't here last week, so will you be paying a visit to Nexus?
Maybe I'll give it another shot. I tried the free trial again, and I still couldn't get into it.
Too busy with Echo of Soul.
Too busy with Echo of Soul, exactly. I still haven't finished even The Witcher. That Echo of Soul.
I have not finished Witcher 3 yet either. Japan's Freak says, I wasn't really interested in WildStar to begin with, but we'll check it out just because magicman praised it so much and bought a dozen subs. Okay, whoa, okay. It is true that I bought...
Now he's getting his commission.
It is true that I did buy a bunch of subs through buying boxes for their random thing. And I do praise it to a certain extent. But if you're only doing it based on my opinion, I like some pretty shitty games sometimes. So I'm just putting that out there. Not saying that WildStar is, but I do like some pretty shitty games too. Jason likes to tease me about. Go ahead, Jason.
All right, the Green Human says, "Will I visit Nexus?" Yes, of course. Quality comment.
Pretty succinct.
Bratwurst says, I cannot say that I will go back to it as I never played it before. I made it a policy to never play pay-to-play games. The only one I've ever played was The Secret World, but that was like the month before it went buy to play. I will go check it out, though. It was a game I had hoped to play for a very long time but never got the chance to because it was a subscription-based game. I'm excited as to what the game has in store for me, which I think a lot of people have been saying. So.
And on that, I've been playing a hell of a lot of The Secret World lately. I don't know why. My wife and I kind of jumped between WildStar and Secret World now.
Certainly one of the more intriguing MMOs.
I enjoy Secret World. Combat sucks, but what are you going to do? Terra Nova 667 says, question of the week, yeah, I'll give WildStar a go once the free-to-play model launches. Can't see a reason why not. Whether the free-to-play model will be good enough to keep me playing, I will have to wait and see. Jason, you get all the really succinct comments this week.
Yeah, that's how it's set up. All right, Ninetail Fox 1983 says, I love WildStar.
Your question of the week for next week. How do you feel about Terra's Steam client being region-locked based on publisher disputes? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure while you're down there, leave your weekly bomb so that I don't have to lump all the comments about Infinite Crisis together into one A-bomb. Leave me a weekly bomb down there. D-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad. Until then, Zach, where can everybody follow you, sir?
Everyone can follow me on Twitter at Zach Sharps. I post all my content that I do on my own personal channel on there, and also at lugogaming.com, lugogaming.com, where also I post all my content and everywhere that I venture forth to, such as Free-to-Play Cast and also Free-to-Play Weekly. So if you want a hub for me, that's where you go.
Mr. Jason Winter.
You can follow me on the Twitter at WinterInformal. Follow my streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
Keeps it nice and easy. He also writes...
Short, just like all the comments.
He writes occasionally on MMO.
Yeah,
so you can go read
that
him
thing
there,
too. Whatever. Nobody talks about that.
I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me on Twitter at MagicMan1, MagicManN1, the spelling that drives Jason nuts. You can also follow me writing and doing videos and fun stuff over on MMOBomb.com. Until next week, gang, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.